Hey, good morning and welcome to Trade Show Guy Monday Morning Coffee. It's January 22, 2018, or maybe you're watching this later in the day, so good afternoon to you. I'm Tim Patterson, founder and owner of Trade Show Guy Exhibits, which is a company that works with clients who are looking to upgrade their trade show presence, increase their trade show marketing return on investment, and make a bigger splash at the shows where they exhibit. You can find us online at TradeshowGuyExhibits.com, TradeshowGuyBlog.com. Get your copy of my book, TradeshowSuccessBook.com, and get a free exhibit buyer's kit. If you're ready to purchase an exhibit, but you don't know how to navigate those waters, go to TradeshowExhibitBuyersKit.com. Today on the podcast, I'll have a trade show tip of the week about traveling. I also have one good thing. But first, an interview with marketing expert and business coach Jim Palmer. Great guy from his boat. Currently moored in Jacksonville, Florida. Yes, he'll explain it on this podcast recording. Good morning, Jim. Thanks for joining me for Trade Show Guy Monday Morning Coffee. You're on a boat somewhere in Florida, from what I hear.
We are on our floating home, and right now we're in Jacksonville, Florida, where for the first time in a long time, I've actually got shorts and a T-shirt on because it's 70 degrees. But,
well, there you go.
Yeah, recently, Florida, just like so much of the big swath of the country, was in a deep freeze. Although we weren't in a deep freeze, but it was pretty chilly compared to – I didn't drive a boat 1,000 miles to be in 40-degree weather.
Well, we're in 40-degree weather here in the Willamette Valley in Oregon. That's what it was. I put my parka on to take the dog for a walk this morning, so –
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I know. Jacksonville, Florida. I got to mention this. I was there once 6 or 7 years ago. I spoke at a conference, an Exhibit Design and Producers Association conference, and got a chance to explore the city. It's very historic, and I really enjoyed that aspect of Jacksonville.
Yeah, I had no idea. It's like the biggest city, oldest city in Florida. And we were reading somewhere in some brochure when we got here, it's like the largest city by land mass in the U.S., which I would have thought was either L.A. or maybe New York, but who knows? Could be all marketing spin. I don't know.
Hey, what a great transition. You're a marketing coach. And so tell me a little bit about what you do exactly. What's your day job, I guess, other than living on a boat,
Yeah, so my day job, I'm just very blessed to be able to work 3 days a week with about 45 entrepreneurs and small business owners that are in my paid coaching program, and I help them create what I brand their dream business, right? And a dream business is pretty much what you want it to be, but it helps you live your dream lifestyle, which usually means you got to achieve financial freedom, and then you can achieve time freedom, which is what I did about 5 years ago when I decided to work 3 days a week. I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday doing my phone calls, and then Monday and Friday, if we got nothing going on, you'll usually find me working. It's hard to, I'm a worker bee. So, right. But then, if we want to take off or when we're driving the boat south or flying home, we got those days free. But, I'm primarily, I help with a lot of marketing and branding, but I've also got a pretty big background in operations. I used to run a national franchise and things like that. So I bring a lot to the table, but most people know me for marketing and online marketing.
So when you mentioned the 4 dozen or so folks that are getting the coaching from you, what kind of things do they do? I'm just curious. What a lot of different stuff. Is it? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's so interesting, Tim. When I started coaching 8 years ago, I was looking at different masterminds, and usually you would go meet like once a quarter, and you'd fly somewhere, and so you had travel and I was attending a lot of events back then, and people were talking, I wish I could be part of a mastermind that didn't have a lot of travel. And I don't know this for a fact, but I believe I started the first virtual mastermind where we hold group calls on a party line. I'm the orchestra leader, and so twice a month, I bring together a lot of people, and I orchestrate what I call profit seats, which are, a lot of people call them hot seats, but I call them profit seats. But when I started my mastermind, I didn't want to have it industry or niche specific. So I have everybody from beginners to, my largest client was doing $42 million. I have men and I have women. I have online and offline. I help doctors, I have lawyers, CPAs, everything in between, copywriters, launch strategists. And probably the biggest niche, which a lot of people find interesting, is I help a lot of people start and or grow a coaching program. Someone goes, well, it's a direct competitor. I said, yeah, but you know how big the planet is.
Exactly.
So I help a lot of coaches grow their coaching practice.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, and you've got more than one book out. Is that correct? The one that I
I've
got your sheet on is Just Say Yes.
Just Say Yes is my seventh book.
Okay. Let's talk about Just Say Yes. How long has that been out? What does that tell people?
That came out April of 2017. And so the quick sequence of events is my wife, Stephanie, and I, she retired from a pretty long career in early childhood development last June of 2017. And we decided now that we weren't tied geographically because of her job, because I can do my job anywhere, and all our kids they're grown and on with their own lives. We thought, let's do something big, like a big adventure. And, after some conversation and spitball, and we decided we're going to live on a boat, right? So, because we really loved boat. We had a 30-foot boat before this one that we enjoyed, long weekends on. So we sold our house and we bought a 50-foot boat, and we moved on board last April. But the thing about the book I do an event called Dream Business Academy, and in January, I was getting ready to do my event, which was like February 8th of last year in Orlando. And I just felt, and I was thinking about what we had done in our own personal lives, which is this: are we really going to sell the house? Are we going to live on a boat? And I've never driven a 50-foot boat before. And, your mind plays a lot of what if games. But you know what? Some people, not all people, but some people have the ability, when you're thinking about a really big challenge, just say yes and figure it out as you go. And it turns out you'll end up having a really big adventure in life. And that's kind of where we were, Tim. But I started thinking about how that also relates to being an entrepreneur. So, maybe you want to grow the current business you have or start another one, add new products, add staff, in some way take your business, but you start playing the what if game. But you know what? Just say yes and see how far you can go, because all growth happens outside your comfort zone. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I think about it, that's kind of what happened with my business. I started this 6.5, almost 7 years ago. And it was, I had a choice of either trying to find a job because the company I worked for closed down, or continuing to do what I was doing with some of the same clients. And a few asked me if I could, and it was like, well, let's just keep going and see what happens. So I, in a sense, I said yes. So that's great. Yeah.
I really like that, so you brand yourself the trade show guy, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Which is really, it's brilliant when you can come up with a name which instantly tells people what you do. I would presume that you coach probably people who actually display and work in trade shows how to have a greater ROI. Am I pretty close?
You're close. Yeah. My main source of income is actually doing project management on the design and fabrication of booths, but I certainly coach people through it. I've written a book, which was my calling card. I did that 2 years ago. Got a new one coming out here the next couple of months, which is based on a lot of the lists that I published on my blog. The blog's been going 9 years now. So
wow.
And that's how people find me. Yeah.
I bet, I'm sure you're doing well with what you're doing, but I would think the trade show guy, I think I know what it costs to exhibit, because I used to do that with the franchise and other things. To be able to take somebody and even give them a 10% higher ROI on that gigantic investment they make, not only in the design of the booth, but the booth and staffing and all that, that's a huge investment. I bet you could have some sort of a coaching or private consulting business as another revenue stream.
Well, maybe we should talk.
All right, there we go. I can't help myself.
Yeah, well, there are so many moving parts in that marketing field that if you miss 3 or 4 of them, a lot of money can fall off the table, as it were. And
exactly.
So I think that. So let's talk about the what ifs. You talk about what ifs. Holding a lot of people back from achieving their success. So what? Let's talk about that a little bit. What are what ifs that other people face?
So the what ifs, what if I fail? What if I run out of money? What if I embarrass my family? What if I go further into debt? What if I do have a lot of success and I don't know how to handle it? And, so a lot of the what ifs in this entrepreneurial world anyway, they're all centered around fear and honestly your own self-esteem and how you feel about yourself and things like that. Because you mentioned you were on one of the trainings I did last night, and I talked about getting over the fact that you're not perfect, and you want to choose to be judged on the quality of the information, content, and services you're providing, and not the imperfect way that we provide it, because we're entrepreneurs, some more successful than others, but we're all people and we're all, fallible. We can make mistakes. But when you choose to be judged on the quality of the work that you're doing and not the imperfect way. So, I do a lot of interviews and videos like I'm doing with you now. I'm quite sure I'll mess up some word or syllable or, some way, shape, or form. I'll say something that's not quite appropriate. And that's okay, because I always fall back on the fact that I'm giving really good information that I think can help people. And it's okay that I never went to a master's level course in speaking or writing or anything like that. And that's another reason that I was able to publish 7 books, is because I cared more about the information than it is being an amazing work of literary art.
Yeah, you talk about the imperfect, the way we approach things. I used to want to try and be perfect. All I realized perfection is never attainable, but it would hold you back from starting. And I heard something somewhere 20 years ago, probably, that said, it doesn't matter where you start, just start. You can start in the middle, start at the end, start at the beginning, start anywhere in between, as long as you start, and then you can fill in the pieces later. And I've always kind of held that close to my heart, because that really does get you moving.
That's exactly right. So the last 3 books that I wrote, Stop Waiting for It to Get Easier, Decide, and Just Say Yes, I wrote and have published in 60 days. My first book was 18 months. And I actually wrote the book in a year, and it took me 6 months to get the courage to push the go button.
Right.
Because back in the day, you had to print your own books, right? Now we got Create Space and you can print on demand. But I think I ordered 1,500 books first printing. I'm like, ooh,
what am I going to do?
What if there's a mistake, right? And I went to a conference, and I heard a gentleman who just put out his own book. He goes, I know my book is I'm not a literary genius, but I think my book is going to help a lot of people. And he goes, Tim, this is what really hit me like a ton of bricks. He goes, my imperfect book being sold today, helping other people, is better than your perfect book that you're still waiting to launch. And I'm like,
you're right. It's out there.
It's out there, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, and that was a big revelation for me.
Yeah, that's great. So, in your book, the new one, which is called Just Say Yes, chapter 2 is interesting, called 2 F words.
Yes.
What the F?
I know. There you go. Well, fear. I just mentioned one of them. That's always a big part of growth, personally, as entrepreneurs, et cetera. And we could do a whole show on fear. I mean, the fear of being found out is one of the chapters I talk about in my book, Decide, because no matter how much success you achieve, some people will always have this fear. Oh, they're going to find out that I'm a home-based businessman. I got an office in the corner of a spare bedroom, and I put myself out there as a big businessman. There's a lot of head trash that goes on. Yeah. The second F, which I decided to write about, came about from in the last 3 years. I've coached at least 2, maybe 3 of my coaching members were really holding themselves back from launching what we both in discussions thought would be a really good plan. And I've never had any professional training as a coach. I didn't go to Coaches U or anything like that. But I said, listen, what is preventing you from launching right now? 2 of them said in different scenarios, but basically the same message was, I just feel really guilty about all the mistakes I've made so far. I've spent money doing this, that, the other thing. I've wasted money on Google AdWords or Facebook. I've hired coaches who just took money and didn't do things. One person said, I've spent $40,000 in the last 3 years and I'm no further along, and I'm just having a hard time going for more, right? And I said, yeah, but everything you've done so far has brought you to this point. And if you don't go any farther, then the level of success you have will be based on what you perceive to be mistakes or things that didn't work out. However you want to frame it's okay with me. But you have a chance to go forward right now and maybe correct those, learn from those, and grow from those. In both cases, the people did that. And I think, just based on my own faith, I know how important forgiveness is, not just for if somebody wrongs you. It's not forgiveness for them so much, it's forgiveness for you, right? Because it frees you and liberates you. And I said, you need to forgive yourself for any lost opportunities, money you might feel that you have wasted on opportunities or working with other people. Forgive yourself and decide right here, right now, the past is the past. I can't change that. But starting today, this is how I'm going to operate and run my business. So forgiveness is, again, I really rely a little bit on my faith perspective, but it was amazing how important it was when people are putting, lots of money on the line to grow a business.
Yeah. And no matter how hard you try, you cannot change the past. It's kind of funny.
That's
how that
right.
works. A couple more things before I let you go, Jim. Tell me about the Dream Business Academy and Dream Business Mastermind. How would someone want to find out more, or how would they find out more if they wanted to? And tell me a little bit about what that really is.
Well, thanks. So Dream Business Academy is a live event. I've done 7 or 8, I forget. I don't know, 7 or 8. I lose track. But I was doing them like twice a year, and I made a decision after my last event in the fall of 2017 that I'm only going to do one a year, because we've kind of built this lifestyle now where we can cruise and do whatever we want. It doesn't make, because it's a lot of work to put on an event. So I'm doing one a year. It's a 3-day event for entrepreneurs and small business owners where I get very transparent and show you everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. I teach you my $1 million platform, how I've marketed and grown multiple 6-figure businesses, including how I started my coaching program. So the next one is September 26th, 27th, and 28th in San Diego, California. And people can go to dreambusinessacademy.com. My coaching program is Dream Business Mastermind and Coaching Program. The website for that is dreambizcoaching.com, dreambizcoaching.com. But you're a member of a group that I'd also like to share. I started a free Facebook group called Build Your Dream Business Now. I did that right around Thanksgiving, and we got about 25 members right now.
Oh, okay.
And it is free to join. You can testify. I'm in there all the time answering questions. I'm doing training and videos, and it's an opportunity for me, I don't know, give back, pay it forward, whatever, however you want to say it, but to help other people at least start the process of growing their dream business. So if you're on Facebook, you can either from Facebook, you can search Build Your Dream Business Now, or I have a URL, Dream Biz Group, dreambizgroup.com. That'll take you right to the Facebook group. And that's a way where we can interact, you get to know me and a lot of other smart entrepreneurs on what they're doing.
Well, and the Facebook thing's interesting to me because there are so many people going to live video. Now, you can do that from virtually anywhere, whether it's a laptop or your smartphone or an iPad or whatever. How does that work for you? I'm just curious, your interaction with people and the technical interface. Is that working pretty well?
It's working really well. It works really well conceptually and every other way. The only challenge for me personally is my Wi-Fi on the boat. So I don't have a coaxial plugged into my boat. So I'm relying on through-the-air Wi-Fi, which depending on where we're physically located, I don't always have a strong signal. There was about a 4 or 5 minute period last night in a 45-minute training where the audio started getting a little haywire and the video stayed up. But and then that fixed itself. But so that's my challenge. But as far as a medium in which entrepreneurs, coaches, or otherwise can build an audience, one of the things that we all have to do as entrepreneurs is we have to build trust, and we have to show value in what we're selling or offering in order to attract people. And video is such a powerful way. So literally right from this chair, same background because it's not that big of a boat. This is where I broadcast. This is my workspace. Yeah. And I just got on and I taught for about 45 minutes. And I think there was about 26 people in the group that watched it live. We're over 100 replays now, which is over almost half the group, which is pretty interesting to me. But it's a great way to connect. But it's not for everybody. Not everybody is sure of themselves or has the right comfort level to do that. Because number one, you really have to know your stuff, because you can't be sitting there reading notes the whole time. You really got to know your subject matter. You got to be very comfortable with who you are. And as I said a few minutes ago, Tim, you have to be okay knowing that you're not perfect. And things might go wrong, but it's okay. You know what I mean? You keep delivering value and doing what you feel you're called to do. It's a very powerful medium. I'm really sold. As much as Facebook ticks me off sometimes with all their changes to the news feed, having a private Facebook group is a very powerful way to connect with people that you want to meet.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, Jim. I'll explore the Facebook thing further. I do have a page there, but I haven't spent much time doing it. It's bandwidth. You know how that goes.
Yeah, I hear you.
But I'll catch your stuff when I can. And again, thanks for joining me for Trade Show Guy Monday Morning Coffee. I appreciate your time.
Tim, thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on.
And thanks again to Jim Palmer for joining me on today's Trade Show Guy Monday Morning Coffee. Really enjoyed that conversation with Jim. Trade Show Tip of the Week. One of the things I always do when attending a several days long trade show is to plan for some of my travel downtime. Maybe that's on the airplane. It could be at the airport waiting 2 or 3 hours for your plane to take off, or maybe you got downtime at the hotel room or at your Airbnb. So I usually take a book or 2 or 3, depending on how fast I think I get through them. Usually fiction, because that helps to, take your mind away from all the crazy days that you're going to encounter or have just encountered. And, I take my laptop, so I often have a movie or 2 or 3 on the laptop, so I can watch that late at night just in case I can't get to sleep or just want to do something. Planning for your downtime at airports, hotels is really important, because if you don't, you'll just be, staring at your phone, wasting your battery and wasting time on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever else you spend your time on, much more than you normally do, right? So one good thing this week, it's the Cool Sheets radio program. What's Cool Sheets? It's a radio program. I just said that. It's more than that, though. It's on the community station that I do my volunteer reggae show on every Monday night, which is kmuz.org, 6 p.m. Pacific. Join me for 2 hours for great reggae. So Cool Sheets is just a half an hour long. It's also a podcast. They highlight several cool things that the hosts Karen Holman and Brian Hart have found over their previous week. They could look at things like websites, books, YouTube videos, channels, podcasts, software. But to me, the real cool thing is that all this is archived on their website, coolsheets.cool. That's right, coolsheets.cool. Check it out. Lots of great things there. And that is my one good thing this week. So have yourself a great week.